Welcome to Love Infused Kitchen. On this episode, I'll be making a loaded brookie, which is a bottom layer of brownie, and I'm going to add some extra pieces to it. And then on top of the brownie, I'm going to put chocolate chip cookie dough, and I'm going to add a candy to it that makes this whole baked dish loaded. So stay tuned to see what I add to my loaded brookie. I'm going to begin with the chocolate chip cookie dough because you can set it aside. I'd rather do the brownie that way it's ready to go as soon as it's put together. So for the chocolate chip cookie dough, I'm taking 8 tablespoons of butter that's been softened. I'm going to add to it 1/2 cup of coconut sugar, or you can use brown sugar that's packed. Next, I'm going to use 1/2 cup of regular granular sugar. I have here 1 egg at room temperature. I'm going to place in there 1 teaspoon of vanilla extract. I'm going to cream this together. Make sure that is combined. All right, next I'm going to add my flour, which is 1 cup of all-purpose flour. I have 1/4 teaspoon of salt and 1/4 teaspoon of baking soda. I got those mixed up. It doesn't matter. They're both 1/4 teaspoon. I flip-flopped the order that they went into the dish. Okay. Now I'm going to stir these items together, or blend these items together. All right, that's nice and smooth. Okay, now I'm going to fold in. So I have 1 cup of chocolate chips, and I have about 1/2 cup of Reese Pieces here. So I'm going to fold both of these in. This is a really nice soft cookie dough to work with. Most cookie doughs are sometimes pretty firm. Okay. I'm going to set the chocolate chip cookie dough with Reese Pieces to the side now and get my ingredients together for my brownie layer. I'm now ready to assemble my brownie layer. With it, you put 12 tablespoons of melted butter. Let me grab another spatula. Next, I'm going to add to that 1/2 cup of coconut sugar, or again, you can use brown sugar that's packed. Then I'm going to add 1/2 cup of granular sugar. And I'm going to cream these together about 2 minutes. Okay. Let me scrape these, make sure everything's combined. Next, I'm going to add in 2 eggs, one at a time. Into the bowl, I'm going to add 1 teaspoon of vanilla extract. I have 1 cup of unsweetened cocoa powder. I choose to use the Ghirardelli brand. I feel like it's a little superior to the other brands. Just my opinion. I think I'm going to hand stir in the rest of this. This looks like it'll be a very decadent brownie. Next, I'm going to add in 1/2 cup of all-purpose flour. I'm also going to add into my bowl 1/2 teaspoon of salt, which I should have added that in with the flour, but that's okay. Okay. Last, the recipe calls for 1/2 cup of chocolate chips to be folded in. I'm also, as part of my loaded brookie, I'm going to add, I have about 1/2 cup here of pretzel sticks that I've crushed up just a little bit. I'm going to fold those in as well. I've always wanted to try a brookie with, that's loaded. I'm a pretty healthy eater though, so I didn't used to make too many desserts and stuff all the time, but I found that this is my joy, so that's why I started my YouTube channel. Okay, so that's all combined. Let me grab my pan. Here I have an 8x8 pan that I've greased the sides and the bottom. And then I also added parchment paper to it and greased it a little bit. So I'm going to spread my batter, my brownie batter, into the pan. This brownie batter is almost like chocolate icing. It's so thick. But I guess it needs to be thick to hold the cookie. I finished smoothing the brownie batter with chocolate chips and pretzel sticks into my 8x8 pan. The next loaded item that I wanted to add is I have 12 mini Twix here that I'm going to add. I want to try to make it so that for each brownie piece, the person will get a Twix piece of candy bar. So let's see how we can do that here. I'm going to try to push them down just a little bit. This brownie or brookie seems so fun. Do something different than what one would normally do. Allows you to be very creative. There are endless possibilities. Okay, so that's in there. Next, I'm gonna take my bowl of cookie dough and drop it by spoonfuls over the brownie layer. I was almost going to double the cookie dough mixture because I wasn't sure if that seemed like that was enough, but this is plenty. I'm going to spread this out. Okay, there we have it, our brownie and cookie dough. And then I also want to show you, I've reserved a half a cup, a quarter cup of chocolate chips and about a quarter cup of Reese Pieces that once I take this out of the oven, I'll press these into the top just to make it look a little prettier. So I have that reserved. So let's get the brookie into the oven. All right, I have my brookie here. I have preheated my oven to 350 degrees. The recipe says to cook for 35 to 40 minutes. I'm going to set the timer for 30 minutes and I'm going to check it. It does say in the recipe not to overcook it because, of course, the brownie cookie will continue to cook once it's out of the oven. At this point, it had been 45 minutes and my timer was going off. So I decided to take the brookie out. The previous times I checked it, it definitely wasn't ready yet. I still had my toothpick come out, which looked like there was a little bit of batter on it, but it could have also been a chocolate chip. So I didn't want to overcook it anymore because I knew it would continue to cook. So at 45 minutes, I decided to go ahead and pull it out because the cookie looked completely cooked. So that's what I'm doing here. And then I'm just going to set it onto the cooling rack and let it cool. Now that the brookie is out of the oven and sitting on the cooling rack, I have my reserved half cup of chocolate chips and Reese Pieces that I'm going to, I start to place them in and try to push them in, but the cookies cook too much to do that. So I decide just to sprinkle the rest of the Reese Pieces and the chocolate chips on the top and let them just kind of melt on there as they will. I'm going to allow the brookie to set overnight so that it has plenty enough time to cool. All right, everyone, it's the next day and I have cut the brownies and I just gave you a shot of them. So let's do taste test. Cut one that I'm trying to get a piece that has a little bit of everything in it. That is very good. Very chocolatey. Definitely tasted the Reese Piecey in there, in that bite. It's definitely chocolate overload. You would probably only need a bite or two of this. It's so indulgent, but it is really good. But it gets the creative ideas flowing of all the other options that you could, you know, obviously do with brownies or blondies and cookie dough or brookie. But that's it for today then. And until the next episode, so long.